Weeks at Reichel Printing. We've been in business since 1930s and going on still. The same family. There's a lot of history in here. I think that you'll enjoy it. So why don't you come on in? All right, so let me tell you a little bit how this place got started. My uncle, Howard Weeks, well, he did not particularly like school very much. So at the age of 11, he quit school and started working for the Suffolk County News. And he did pretty good at it. And he went on to work for a couple other printers and ended up at Port Washington Press by the 1930s. By then he was already starting his own business around the corner from here, down the basement in parents' house. He had bought used machinery, some of it dating back pre-1900. His first printing press is in 1921, which we still have. We will show you that in a moment. But a lot of this also is, of course, about the printing industry itself, and then again, how we survived all these years. The one thing that kept us going was that this was a family business, and no matter what was done and who was in charge, they always went to anybody in the shop, the pressmen and stuff, and said, hey, we're thinking about buying a new machine. What do you think about this machine? And everybody got input. So nothing was purchased until everybody said, yeah, that's the way to go. This picture here shows my uncle, Howard J. Weeks, our founder. And he is at Port Washington Press, where he worked. This is 1932, and he worked here until he started his own business. 1942, Howard Weeks purchased this building. I have no idea what he paid for it. That is not in the archives, but the building ended at this wall. Now it has been added on to many times over the years. It was added on in 1950, and then a big section was put on in 1966. And from there, more machinery was brought in, but we do have some of the original equipment still in this area. So this area shows machinery from when he started to brand new. When the business was started, everything was letterpress in this shop. So we have down here, we have all wood type, we have a lot of other metal type, and some of this type was very small. You'd get to 4 and 5 point type. You had to have pretty good eyes to set that. It was placed into a chase, and the chase would then be loaded into a printing press, like this one. And once turned on, you basically hand-fed the sheets into the machine and pulled them out, one at a time. And you would end up with, this is just a sample, but this is letterpress. To speed up the printing process, they acquired a linotype machine, which Edison called the eighth wonder of the world. This machine really helped with literacy all across the world. They made many of these machines, and you really weren't a print shop unless you had one of them. It sped up printing so quickly. It did exactly what it said. It's a linotype, made a line of type. You could sit down, type on the keyboard. Out of lead, you had a form, which you could put, line them up. You could make books, you could make forms, you could make anything you wanted. To show you the operation of this press, which we have a fully functioning linotype, a little explanation. You hit a key, what is called a matrix comes down. It is basically a mold. There's hot lead in here, which when you make your line of type from the keyboard, it goes, casts it, comes out, and the type goes back into its slots up top to be used again. So I'm going to do an attempt here. check on the wording. Spelled correctly. Now it's going to cast. Pipe is in, plunger will come down, sends the lead into the mold, out it comes. One line of type, end type going back to where it's supposed to. While we're back here, I figured I'd show you some of the other machines and stuff that we do have in here. We have quite a bit. This is a 57 Heidelberg Platinum, otherwise known as a windmill. This machine here, they got brand new, and I was trained on this machine when I was 17, and I still run it a couple times a week. The one thing that's nice about this press, not only can it print letterpress, it can die cut, it can score, it can perforate, it can number. It's a very versatile machine and very easy to operate, very nice letterpress. I don't have a job on it right now, but I'll put it through its motion. Gives you an idea of how they work. They have speed up and slow down. And the one thing you always did have to be careful of in these places, because a lot of guys did lose their fingers in here, so you had to be careful around letterpress machinery. After letterpress came offset. We started getting offset machines around 1950. Some of them weren't that reliable. Eventually they ended up getting Heidelbergs. Our last offset press that we bought is this one here. It's this 1984 machine, and I still use this to this day for long runs. We will go through this a little bit, but basically offset printing is really what it says. They're offsetting. You take a plate, which is made from a negative, it's wrapped around a cylinder, the ink goes on it, it offsets onto a rubber sheet, which then offsets onto the paper. Comes out the back of the press. This is a negative for offset printing. Now, I'm going to show you how a plate is made. This is an aluminum plate that's coated with a material that's light sensitive. Place it on the material, on the aluminum plate. Close it down. The vacuum. It's going to hold it tight. Once it's tight, it's a halogen light inside. Here we have our plate at the end of the processor. That's not the side you want. That's the side you want. I'm going to do a little wipe down, and we're going to put it on the printing press. The plate now gets loaded onto the press. Ready to go on that end. Next is the paper. Our paper's loaded. I'm putting some ink in the back of the press right now. Some of you might want to know if you into ecology. This is vegetable-based ink. Although it smells pretty good, I don't think I'd want to eat it. Put it in the back. Okay. One last thing is we add our water. Water on. A little light to start with, but work up in a couple of sheets and you have an offset printing job. Right here we have our 1967 Heidelberg. When this building in the back was built, this was the first thing that came in. I remember as a child there was nothing in this building except this machine. The whole place was empty. Now it does operate still. We don't have much work for it anymore, but if needed, it's ready to go at any time. Has a nice little sound to it. And This is my partner who retired last year. This was his baby. He loved this press. Me, not so much. After he decided not to run it anymore, I found out just what it was to run this machine. It's a little bit of a bear. Anyway, we'll move on. Once digital equipment came in, we started to get our own in here. Quite a few years now. This is our newest. It's only a couple of months old. And printing has got pretty easy. So in the beginning, I was asked how we stayed in business all these years. Well, it was dedication, it was love for the business, and a lot of hard work. So here we are. We're still here after all these years. Excuse me. Hello? Yes. Yeah, they'll be right over. I'll take care of it. Thank you. Excuse me.